swept out with the tide. I burned up my youth playing it loose.
So that is an optical illusion.
Ladies and gentlemen, live from Discord, interrupted Jesse Kimball. It's Thursday, and you know what
Get
that
better
means.
Material.
It's Podzilla After Dark live here on the Podzilla 1985 podcast. Here with my name's Shannon Young. Here with me tonight.
Hang on. You keep saying live. Are we actually live?
Live on tape. Jesse Kimball's here with us.
Okay, there it is.
Live on tape, that's the best kind of live. It's me, that guy that I am.
Lindsay Wolfgong
Hello.
from the spirit realm,
I'm not
enveloped in white, light everywhere. Shelby Chan.
I'm only an optical illusion.
Yeah, that's what we keep telling Jesse.
I refuse to believe.
That's the new show coming to Podzilla 1985, hosted by Jesse Kimball. I refuse to believe it's a
follow-up show to I Want to Believe.
yes. It's immediately after Jesse takes all the stories we talk about and tear them apart. Oh,
And he starts the show every week with "You bunch of ignorant sluts."
I mean, I've got to get at least like 3 actuallys in there.
well, actually, Double H is here with us tonight.
Oh, Shannon McGarnagle and Billy, he's dead.
That's right. They slit him from ear to ear.
Dead serious about getting slit, his throat slit from ear to ear.
Hey,
Oh, fuck.
I'm eating a sandwich.
I'm eating my lunch here.
Anyway,
My
so
God.
it's kind of a late show here. We went out to Buffalo Wild Wings and ate dinner, and I want to give a shout out to Buffalo Wild Wings for accidentally giving me double the wings that I ordered. And I was going to say something, but I didn't. I ate the wings, and now I regret it.
Do you not remember the time you were at Buffalo Wild Wings until like 1:45 in the morning?
I do remember
was
that.
Restitution.
Yeah,
they paid you back.
I almost told that story. It was me and Zach. Mr. Pink was there, and we were there after a
that fucking
CCW
guy.
show until what? Who you talking about, Zach? Until 1:45 a.m. I personally felt bad for the guys there, but you know, it was
Listen, Shannon, as your intellectual superior, I've got to tell you,
motherfucker, you ain't my intellectual. You ain't my intellectual superior. Actually, I assume you are. I assume most people here are, except for the guy in the bottom right corner in the dark. That fucking dork. Also, potentially appearing later, Tanner Calvert via Potato from his car. He's actually he's logging in via short form radio, which I don't even think is a term.
Short form. Okay.
I don't know what it means.
Make a quick change real fast here.
short
Do you
form
mean
radio.
short wave radio? Is that what you were going
That's
for?
probably what I meant right there. Yeah, Hunter, while you are
Say ham radio, man.
no, because then I'll get hungry. Hunter, really quick, in case we don't get a chance to do horse time tomorrow, can you please read off those names for us?
I can. Asa Gray is named Crevice Seeker. So that's a great start. Cody is Dick Blatant, aka Night Wang.
Hold the fuck on. I forgot about Dick Blatant, aka Night Wang.
aka Night Wang.
God damn.
My name is still Corn Ghost Bear. Bob is still Pie Butt. Jesse just morphed from the Grand Warlock of Mexico to short form radio. Kaz is potential cream rag, and I don't like that one at all. Nor do I like that your name is Squirted Circle. I'm gonna change the order of 2 of them here because I think it's important. Tanner is prophylactic friend, but then Steven and Zach back to back are peppermint possum and redundant raccoon.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite Fox Kids cartoon.
That's my favorite combo.
Yeah.
That's the best one. That's my favorite one.
I forgot about Squirted Circle. That sounds dirty.
Circle.
Well, you were tipsy doing PWU and things happened, you know? What's to be done?
You've got to be drunk to talk about wrestling these days. You can't do it sober.
Oh,
You just can't.
no. And if things keep going the way they are, we just won't do it at all.
At all. At all.
Feels like I'm not doing a show at all.
Dalton actually texted me this morning. He was like, "Hey, did you and Hunter talk about WWE last night?" I was like, "Yeah, that reminds me. I better post PW." It's one of those shows that I kind of just wish I didn't post because it was half baked and fully tipsy and unhappy. Very angry show.
Good, though.
Angry young men.
It was important.
Angry young men.
Yes, we were.
If you're new to the show, by the way, if you're listening, because I know we got a lot of new listeners, I don't drink normally.
You drink abnormally?
Just gonna let that settle, Shelby.
He like covers one nostril while he does it. I don't know. It's weird.
Let that marinate, bud, just for a second.
I suggest you do so.
I don't have a single thing to talk about.
Okay.
All right.
I mean,
there's stuff. Kevin McCarthy finally got the necessary votes.
Yeah.
Sarah Huckabee Sanders banned critical race theory in K through 12 in Arkansas, so that's good.
I mean, yeah.
We just heard that Lisa Marie Presley died.
Yeah.
Yeah, according to Tanner, who apparently found out from his car.
His car told him.
Yeah, I just think it's weird that his car talks, honestly.
He just got Kit from Knight Rider. I want to briefly mention this critical race theory thing though, because and I promise I'm not going to harp on this, but here's my favorite part of that story. So, Sarah Huckabee Sanders is the governor of Arkansas now. In case you didn't know, yes, she has apparently banned critical race theory in K through 12 in the state. Here's what's funny about that. They weren't teaching that in K through 12. It wasn't. It already wasn't happening. She may as well have banned tigers in suburban areas that just roam free. They're not allowed to do that. Well, they weren't doing that already. But
Hunter, I would like to buy this law.
But it doesn't do anything. The important part, though, is that's the funny part. The other side of it is, as was pointed out to me, but what do they think critical race theory is? Like, it's that thing where you want to go, I know what it is, but you explain it to me.
That's my favorite SNL joke where Heidi Gardner says, I am so mad. They're teaching critical. What is it, and why am I so mad about it?
and that's the thing. That's what's kind of scary about it, because as was pointed out in the bit, if their version of critical race theory is even talking about black people and they've banned it, this is bad. And it's going to be a real problem.
Because, like, they already talked about,
Hey, what do you know from his car? Ask Justin. Jesus Christ, Tanner. The sound is ungodly. Where are you?
Mute the microphone while you're getting everything settled, man. Come on. Thank you.
We know.
Yeah.
We're aware.
But anyway, going back.
Lindsay couldn't take it. She left.
She's out. She went to
grab
my
a cat. Yeah.
No, I'm getting a cat out of my Pokemon cards.
The new ones?
Into my car. Anyway.
Because, like, you already joked, like, we talked about this before, about how shit, like, Black Wall Street and stuff along those lines. Like, I thought that was fiction until I looked it up.
Right.
Because that's something that, like, because that's something that I very much, I didn't know, like, happened, because history books didn't teach it. So they already aren't. Like, so what else are they going to try to remove? Like,
it is literally only ever taught at the college level. Even then, my understanding of it is that it is generally taught at the graduate level. So we're not even talking like undergrad. We're talking it is a like master's level and above.
Because it's a philosophical theory. Yeah, like it's not something like, and it's not. The idea is like so I guess they're just saying like they can't talk in K through 12 about like systemic racism. Like, is that how this is going to extend?
And that's the thing. That's totally different. And that kind of thing absolutely should be discussed at some form or fashion. Obviously not in kindergarten.
I disagree.
But yeah, somewhere along the way that should be discussed. But to put this blanket statement out of critical race theory, again, what do you think that is? Because I've not read the contents of the law, so if it's super vague, that's terrifying. If it's very specific, then it's like, all right, we definitely will not do that. Thank you for making that distinction.
My favorite part of this is from the Wikipedia page for critical race theory. It says, academic critics of critical race theory argue it is based on storytelling instead of evidence and reason, rejects truth and merit, and opposes liberalism. Like everything Donald Trump says. But they don't have a problem with that. That is fucking gospel. But critical race theory, that is clearly, that's created by, that's created in a Hollywood lab.
That was racist propaganda.
That's, the race is against whites. They
Oh,
are.
yeah.
They are.
They are.
They are. Yeah. Jesse, we call that reverse racism. Jesse,
But anyway.
you remember reverse racism?
I do.
Oh.
I do.
I remember the first time somebody ever used the phrase reverse racism around me, and I was like, do you mean not racist? What are you trying to say?
No, if you're being racist against whites, that's reverse racism. What?
That means
That's just
that means
racism.
that white people are the only race. Is that what you're trying to say? Think hard before you answer that question. Please.
Put some thought into it, god damn it. Jesse, go ahead. I've interrupted you with my nonsense for too long.
No, that's fine. I don't even remember. Like, it was probably some kind of point about, I don't know, teaching things and shit in places. Fuck, I don't know.
Advocates of
Talk
bans
now.
argue that critical race theory is false, anti-American, and villainizes white people. Because we are the villains.
In that story, white people are the
Look at
villains.
story here.
Jesse,
And I say story, in that nonfiction story called History,
Jesse, do you
white people are kind of the villains.
Jesse, do you remember
So-
when black people got on the boats themselves and paddled themselves over to America so they could be our slaves? Funny enough, do you remember that time that black people burned down Black Wall Street out of protest for something? Probably, I don't know.
Yeah, and they
Here's
dropped
something
bombs.
taken-
Yeah,
In Oklahoma. That's
yeah.
So this is directly from the story about the Sanders and the thing. It says, on the campaign trail, Sanders pledged to restore a quality education for children, one without politicized curricula and pedagogy. In her inaugural address, I was trying to decide if it was pedagogy or pedagogy. I don't like that word. Anyway, in her inaugural address, she said schools need to return to teaching, quote, reading, writing, math, and science, not training in progressive frameworks like critical race theory and gender ideology. So what she did is she signed an executive order. This is how it's like, quote unquote, banned. It directs the Secretary of the state's Department of Education to review rules, policies, and regulations that could, quote, indoctrinate students with ideologies such as CRT that conflict with the principle of equal protection under the law, or encourage students to discriminate against someone based on characteristics protected by federal or state law. So basically, she told the Department of Education's secretary they needed to review the state's educational materials such that they don't indoctrinate students with ideologies that
this is
would
just more
cause them to
vague.
discriminate against people.
This is more vague nonsense.
Yeah, CRT is mentioned only in this little snip of it anyway, as an
example of that.
Right. Of something that would cause you to discriminate against other people. And it's like, man, you're suddenly very concerned about discrimination down there in Arkansas.
And my other favorite thing is like when these people talk about, like, well, it wasn't just black people that were slaves.
Yeah.
Oh. Oh.
Well, Jesse, to be fair, who is the most oppressed people in the United States of America today? White men.
All right, Logan Paul. Wait,
what? I don't even think he's done. I don't even think he's done that one.
He's probably said something about that. I don't know why he popped it.
Look, man, there's a lot of
Because
reasons.
he is the whitest man.
You're gonna look at that motherfucker, Shannon Young, and you're gonna tell me that he has never in his life said something about being discriminated, like being a white man is hard.
I think he's got. I don't think anything's ever been hard for him, and also
literally nothing.
Also,
He's got about 15 other problems right now. He doesn't have time to worry about that one.
He ain't sweating that shit. He ain't sweating being a white man. A white Christian man. A white Christian man.
We're not doing this.
Once he gets through all of what he's going through now, then he's going to be like, look how hard it is to be me.
And then you hear Donald Trump talking about he's the most persecuted president in U.S. history.
That's true.
Of all time, which
That's
is why
true.
you should buy his $100 virtual trading card.
No, 100. Those are sold out. You can't.
He's right.
They sold.
He's
sold
right.
out immediately.
Well, why not? They just are. It's a digital. Just make another one.
You can't just add to the blockchain.
Jesse.
Yes, Shannon?
Do you remember when we worked at GameStop and there was a pre-order code for the Juggernaut?
Yeah, dude.
X-Men, what was it? Marvel Ultimate Alliance?
I remember
think.
this.
Yeah.
Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2.
And there was you had to pre-order the game to get the Juggernaut, and the codes were limited, and people got so angry at us. Well,
It was a GameStop exclusive pre-order bonus.
Right.
And GameStop ran out of fucking codes.
They ran out of numbers. They used all the numbers possible.
No more numbers.
They made
This
like 10 of
Litton's
these
reaction
things.
says
One
it
of them
all.
was 0, and then they were like, "Well, what do we do now? There's no more left."
They counted to 500 and started sweating. What's after 500? There is none. There's nothing.
Why is that Litton in jail? Why,
Where
what
he
Why is it
belongs.
imprisoned for its crimes?
You can
It
tell
looks like it's in the pound.
it's either about to be it's about to be neutered. You can tell that cat's about to lose its testicles. Meanwhile, while that's all taking place, you got Sleepy Joe Biden getting caught with classified documents in his private office, and it's like, come on, dude.
All right.
We
my
just
favorite
went
thing about
through this.
My favorite thing about this is people using that exact phrase, like he got caught. Like, no, his lawyers found the documents. They contacted the federal courts and like, hey, we found these documents. What do? I'll just bring them back by. And they did. End of drama.
My favorite thing is he said, I wish I could find the quote. When they asked him, is this a problem? He mentioned that, unlike the Trump things, these were secured in a lockbox, a storage box, or he said, or at least in a closet. And I'm like, that's important, Joe.
The bar is literally in hell at this point. All you got to do is just get right over. And they were at least in a closet.
At least they were in a closet.
That's better than what we were dealing with before.
Better than at a golf resort.
It was
And then, like, telling the FBI, no, you cannot have these documents back.
Well, they belong to him.
To you.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, because, like, that.
Joe, what happens if someone opened the closet and found the documents? Well, they're not gonna open the closet,
That'd be bad.
That'd be bad.
Real bad.
They don't know the closet's there. Why is he turning into Harry Carey? They don't know the closet. He doesn't know the closet's there.
It happens every time. The longer you do it, the more I expect you to go, "Hey, Jesse.
Hey, Jesse.
If the moon was made of green cheese, would you eat it?"
It's a simple question.
I would, and I'd wash it down with an ice cold Budweiser.
It's kind of like my impression of my old store manager at GameStop.
There it goes.
Yes, it's the exact impression. Yes,
Jesse.
we're aware. I
By the
think.
way, I have now officially learned that Shelby can't take the "Hey Jesse" in that voice.
Hey, Jesse.
So if you ever need to just break her, just go, "Hey Jesse." There it is.
Jesse, next time
Well,
you
I know how
guys,
we're ending the show.
when you go to bed and she wakes up in the morning, be right there in front of her and go, "Hey, Shelby." I think I'll title this episode. I'm gonna title this episode "Scraping the Bottom of the Barrel."
Podcast that couldn't slow down.
Shelby has her list.
Yeah.
Wait, there's a list. Your
I
list?
got mine. I'm ready.
Yeah, the things of 5.
Your
Got
list.
it.
The Things of Five. That sounds like a cryptic Dungeons and Dragons.
the
Things
things
of
of
Five.
Five.
I'm also absolutely about to make that somebody's name.
The Things of
The
Five.
things of 5. I think I'll make that mine, as a matter of fact.
I was desperate.
There we go.
I was really trying to think of something to talk about. I really was. I'm disappointed because I wanted to buy Grid Legends. Just came out today on VR, and I've been waiting for a VR racing game native to the Quest 2 because I don't want to have to hook things up or anything like that. And it just came out today. I was super jazzed for it. And I've been reading the reviews and I saw the video. I still kind of want to get it. It has a 2-hour refund policy, but apparently the graphics are borderline like Sega Saturn level for this game. And if you've ever
Wow.
That's a
played
lot
Grid,
of VR. Like,
if you've ever played Grid is a gorgeous racing game. It's
very pretty game.
hyper realistic.
It's kind of the point, right? It's like Forza. Like it's got the super great graphics and then like it's fairly, but this one's like less in depth, right?
But
Forza's
Grid
like
was
really,
Grid is supposed to be more arcadey, but still has like
Right.
that attention to detail.
so it's like
that
Forza Horizon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find a
that's
picture
certainly close in
of
comparison.
the Quest version to send to you just as a comparison. Because it really needs to be seen to be believed.
Because there for a little while, Codemasters were just fucking killing it with the racing game scene. Like between Grid and Dirt, like both of those, like Dirt especially, flying off the shelves. Could not keep that game in stock.
All the
Reviews
reviews...
on the PS3, like when the PS3 first launched, that was the big
Yeah.
PS3 like
Yeah,
racing game.
Dirt.
That's what I was thinking it was.
Dirt.
Yeah,
It's-
we played the demo for that an awful lot, like to the point that we were told, "Hey, stop playing the demo."
And then it was
It's
also...
right there.
It was one of my favorite... it was Dirt McGurk, if you remember him.
Dirt,
Well,
Dirt.
it was, but then when they in the racial draft went to China, then he became the old dirty Chinese restaurant.
That's true. I got a video I'm going to send to you real quick. This is actually from the Quest 2 website advertising the game. If you want to take a look, just click the video. It's about 30 seconds long, and you can see... Look at the video and then look up any screenshots of Grid and go, oh, okay. Because
What did they do?
I mean, again, it's in VR, so you get to play a cool VR racing game. But man, look at those graphics. Look at those.
God, it really does look like a Sega Saturn game.
It's pretty bad.
Jesus, it looks.
Why?
I
Yeah.
honestly like my first and immediate thought was Twisted Metal on the PlayStation 1.
I went with virtual racing for some reason.
Virtual racing,
But-
I
but
think,
yeah.
is pretty good. Like, I'm sure when you're actually playing, it feels better because you're in the game, you're looking around, but visually,
right, but
like,
still,
boy, you talk about downgrades. That's like,
Mhm.
ah,
Oh,
Yeah.
EA. EA hasn't always owned Codemasters, have they?
I don't think so, but I think the Saudi investment fund owns EA.
They do have a stake in it.
5% share.
Yeah. All right, Lindsay, what is synopsis?
Get it.
Whoa.
You okay there?
Hello.
This feels like a good time for me to interject real quick. I know this is not the show, but just to follow up on the whole WWE thing, now every rumor is coming out from the PIF is still involved as a possible, like the pool of potential buyers is gotten crazy. It's that
Including,
Nick Khan supposedly
yeah.
met with Disney and ESPN.
And what's the big one?
Apparently, Tony Khan.
Tony Khan.
Khan and his people are in the pool. Here's the thing about that one though: ain't no fucking way. Vince's whole thing is he came back so that he could have control over the sale. He wouldn't sell to Tony Khan for literally twice the money the PIF could give.
Hunter,
He wouldn't do it.
I desperately want him to sell it to Tony Khan because that will be the ultimate fuck Vince McMahon. Walk away with your tail between your legs.
Oh, yeah.
You sold to the competition.
won't.
You are
has the
WCW
control.
now. You are WCW.
He would never do it.
That's
He
what.
would never do it.
and
That's
then-
the only thing.
And then what's crazy is when Tony Khan, Shane McMahon shows up and says there is a McMahon name on the contract. Shane
But it's
McMahon.
not Vince.
It's Shane McMahon.
Both of them end up going under, and Impact is still around somehow, even though we've been saying Impact would be dead for 20 years.
Wouldn't
now.
that be funny if Impact survived the wrestling war? They're the
They're
cockroach
the only ones
of the wrestling world.
Oh, Jeff Jarrett somehow goes back and is back in control again.
Slap nuts. All right. Lindsay,
So,
what?
Anyway.
I just want to go back real quick to the Codemasters thing. Apparently, in 2020, Take-Two and EA were in a bidding war for ownership of Codemasters, and EA won it.
To be fair, what is Codemasters other than Grid? What do they make other than Grid and Dirt?
They've been around for a long time, man. I mean, they did Grid and Dirt, Sega Rally Revo.
Oh, they did Dungeons and Dragons on the old PCs.
They did the Overlord series, which was basically, Pikmin if you didn't have a Nintendo console.
That's a pretty cool one though. That one.
Yeah. Project
Colin
Cars.
Gray Rally, they did that back on, what was that, the N64?
Oh shit, they were in charge of Lord of the Rings Online.
Wait, is it the actual one or is it the other one?
The Shadows of Angmar.
Wait, hold on, what?
That's what it says.
With that Simpsons dinosaur.
So, okay, it was original. I didn't know Codemasters did that because I remember Turbine did it. I didn't know Codemasters had a hand in it.
On
shit,
behalf
they
of
made the
Turbine.
Game Genie. I don't know how I didn't know this. They made the Game Genie. They were the ones behind it. Like, Galoob released it.
Yeah,
but-
Codemasters. Yeah, obviously. Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah, developed a device called the Game Genie because they've been around for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have. I'm looking at a list of their games that they did out. Bunch of BS games, bullshit games, derivative, bullshit, derivative. They did Big Nose the
Now this.
Caveman. That was a good one.
Whoa, boy.
They also did Big Nose Freaks Out, which was the sequel, I suppose.
That is...
Oh shit, they did The Realm
I'm going to
Online.
need you to stop saying those words in that order, please.
What, Big Nose?
It's making me very uncomfortable.
They did Mike Tyson boxing on the PlayStation. I didn't even know that existed.
Oh shit, Codemasters worked on the Need for Speed Unbound game.
Fuck.
Apparently they helped Criterion with that.
Fuck. Wait, no, they make good games. It's just this
EA
one
merged.
game.
Yeah, EA merged Codemasters subsidiary Codemasters Cheshire into Criterion Games, an existing subsidiary of EA,
My favorite
as a support effort for Need for Speed.
My favorite thing is if you look at the last games that they've made, like the last 10, it's F1 2018 Dirt Rally, F1 2019 Grid, F1 2020 Dirt 5, F1 2021 Grid Legends, F1 22.
Yeah,
they've got a thing.
Their website says specifically that they develop racing games. Like, that's where I went first. Apparently, since 2015, after they did that Overlord, what was the second or third Overlord game,
Yeah.
they're done with everything but racing. Like, that's all they do. And in fact, if you go back further, like, there's that one and everything else is racing or vehicular combat all the way back to 2012.
They also did, and right before that, they did Operation Flashpoint, which I've heard is a really good tactical military shooter. So,
Yeah.
and now they've made Grid Legends on virtual reality.
Yay!
Which I'll probably buy. All right, Lindsay, what is tonight's top 10 list for David Letterman?
Oh, Lord.
No, we're not doing top 10. We're doing top 5. And it is 5 crazy fan theories that we find interesting.
I don't subscribe to fan theories. Okay, I can do this.
They can be for video games, TV, movies, books, whatever.
Okay.
I'll try.
Well, that's good
I'm
because
good.
we're starting with
I got
Jesse.
it.
Pass.
You can't pass. You can't pass. All right, we'll
yeah,
start
I mean,
with
like,
a double stamp.
The theories that I like, we've talked about a lot of the Pokemon theories before.
Can I
and,
do critical race theory?
Yes.
No.
We're not in Arkansas.
According to Sarah
Fine.
Huckabee Sanders.
That's Arkansas. But
Austin
anyway,
Lane
yeah,
lives
there's,
there.
There's a lot of Pokemon ones that I really, really like, but I'll just stick with one, and the one that I can think of off the top of my head.
All right, let's start
is
with
the,
oh, you really gonna go? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it's the Pokemon theory that like they're in prequels, which at this point like is very much like not a thing anymore. But I like the idea that the first games, Pokemon Red and Blue, like Gen 1, is like all these like all the Pokemon that aren't in that generation are now extinct, and went extinct like during the big wars that Lieutenant Surge was a part of, and all that fun stuff. It's a good theory. Yeah,
Basically, the first games are the last games, and you work your way backwards.
Correct. Yes.
I mean, that makes sense considering the fact that in the first game, Professor Oak's like, there's 150 Pokemon and that's it. And then a few years later, he's like, there's actually 1,000 and I'm bad at my job.
Well, they're in different regions, though.
Yeah,
you go to the
dude,
region.
Some guy that lives in America doesn't know what's happening in England. There's no way to know. There's no way to know.
That's how the world just is, though.
Right. Exactly.
Like, I'm half joking, but I'm also half serious. Like, yes, I'm aware the joke is the internet, but also how many people exist in the country and they go, what the fuck is happening over there? It's just that cat looking over the snow. What they doing over there? Like, people don't know. They just don't know shit.
Yeah, but these motherfuckers have a ball that can shrink down an animal, or they choose to shrink down. I forget how it works. Lindsay, how does it work? How does a Pokeball work? Where do babies come from?
It's not important. Move past it. Just move past it.
Yeah, we just move past it.
It's Frank and the coil. Just move past it.
All right, well, we're going to move past it right to Shelboo.
I'm also going to do a Pokemon theory. Giovanni is Ash's real dad.
I've heard of that theory.
It's a fun one.
I'm a familiar with that theory.
I'm familiar.
That's a good one.
I mean,
Is he there, Chris Pratt?
it makes things kind of make sense in terms of Team Rocket, because, like, how do they always, in this entire area, how are they always near Ash? When they do capture his Pokemon, they're never, like, mean to them. It's basically he's Giovanni's weakest lackeys that he has sent to watch over his son.
Or his best lackeys to watch over his son.
And all the rest of them are just real terrible.
Right. You have to be really good to look that bad. Where did Tanner go?
Yeah.
He actually, like, straight left, didn't he?
Well, he muted himself,
Yeah.
and then I think he realized it was going to take him a bit longer to get out of the car than he thought, and then he left.
Well, in his absence,
Also driving through Illinois, so there's a distinct possibility that he just has no service for anything right now.
we're gonna go to Hunter now.
Yeah, we are. All right, I'm doing the only one right now. Also, for the record, pretty much all of mine are movie based, although some of them are kind of like franchise based. Anyway, I'm gonna do the only one that I think somebody might take, and that's Shannon.
Don't do it. I feel like I know what you're gonna do.
The reason why the Ghostbusters are broke in Ghostbusters 2. So
okay,
they very much talk about being sued, right? Like the movie doesn't touch much on it at all, but they do give that passing mention of here's why Ray and Winston are doing birthday parties, and the other two have left and they're doing other things because they got sued by the city, county, and state of New York. It's the callback to the joke from the first one. But I like the idea that it's a little more specific than that. So I'm going to read this from one that I had read somewhere. At the end of the original Ghostbusters, we see the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man attack New York after being thought up by Ray. Unfortunately, in doing that, Ray violated the copyright of the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, conjuring him up as a horrendous figure and seriously damaging the company's brand. This caused the Stay Puft Marshmallow Company to sue the Ghostbusters for misappropriation and illegal use of their license. All of New York likely heard Gozer order them to choose the form of the destroyer, it should be Destructor. And when on the stand, Ray was forced to admit that he thought of the Marshmallow Man and chose him. The lawyers of their company then argued that any of the Ghostbusters could have thought of any unlicensed or public domain entity, and that they chose Mr. Stay Puft with malice. The lawsuit becomes a strong victory for the Stay Puft Company, which leads to a further string of lawsuits from the rest of New York, basically, and that's what depletes their funds. So I like the idea that the Stay Puft Company kicked it off. That they're like, no, you chose our fucking mascot and ruined us.
That's
it's on you.
That's honestly not a bad theory, because imagine if
I love it.
You know, the Michelin Man was dreamed up by somebody, and the Michelin Man murdered a bunch of people, and nobody bought Michelin tires anymore. They would sue the shit out of somebody. Someone's losing money. Yeah.
Yeah, and not to mention, I mean, it was a time frame, in history. You're talking in the late '80s, early '90s, when we weren't worried about like internet property and the way things are handled digitally and all that. It was literally, here's a property, it exists, you're using it, it's ours, you're at fault, done and done, right? I think it's great. It's not. It's kind of a pseudo theory because the movie states that that's why they're broke, but not specifically that one. And I think that's the important one.
That's a good one. That's a good one. My first one, because I was desperately trying to think of one really quick, was one that I've heard a long time, and I don't believe it, but I like the theory. I think it's interesting, and that's if you've ever played. Spoiler alert for a game that came out in like 1997. If you've ever played Final Fantasy VIII, there's a theory that at the end of Disc 1, has anyone here played Final Fantasy VIII other than me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Played and beat.
So at the end, you remember at the end of Disc 1, Sorceress Edea hits you with a crystal whatever that goes straight through you. And the theory is that Squall is dead. That the rest of the game is just a dream or his dying moments. Because if you notice, at that point of the game gets really weird. You go into space. There's just weird shit that happens. And the thought is like, how the hell?
It's also the first time you play Laguna.
Yeah,
like
you switch over to his memories,
thing.
right?
Yeah,
it makes no sense. Like, there's no way anyone could have survived that because he literally closes his eyes and he's just gone. And there's a bunch of stuff that kind of lends, credibility to that because at some point, I'm looking it up. I don't even remember some of this. Somebody tells him you've become just a memory. There's a part where he, apparently he looks at himself and he goes like, my wound, I don't have a wound. How? There's no way he didn't have a wound. That motherfucker got impaled by a crystal.
Right.
And it's never referenced again. It's just like out of the open. And then there's this one picture I remember, and I don't think I'll be able to find it, but there's a picture of Squall where he has like no face. Oh wait, here it is. Yeah.
I was about to say I was actually just looking at that.
Yeah, there's this picture that pops up later, and it's just like there's so much shit that happens that's just incredibly creepy.
It's very unsettling.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Kind of resembles a toe. I don't like it.
Well, that's what is it, Lindsay? That's a toe-headed space boy, or what'd you call it? Lindsay, come on back.
Choosing not to respond.
I'm not commenting.
She's got a cat. She's happy.
Yeah.
Cat is also happy.
The cat
is very happy.
Which one is that?
It's Ember. She was crying outside my door.
That's all she does is cry. She's such a crybaby. Look at that cat. Look at that.
That's such a happy-looking cat.
Content.
All right, Lindsay, go ahead. Squall's dead.
Okay.
What do you got?
So I'm going back to Pokemon, but speaking of dead, it involves ghost-type Pokemon. That it begins with how are ghost Pokemon actually caught? Because they're basically non-existent. They could just phase through the ball. Well, it's because they want to be caught because they're hunting us to consume our souls.
Yeah, that's right.
What?
Yeah.
Because so many Pokemon entries, they feed off the life force of humans and other creatures. So they're just in the long haul. They're like, yes, you have caught me. I will fight you, and I am slowly draining your life essence away.
I like that one. It's one of the new ones. I forget which. Or no, I guess it's not a new one, but it's the entry for it in the current games where it's like, one of the things it does is show you like the end of time.
Gotha, Goetha, or what is it called, Lindsay?
The last one of that.
Gothetta.
It's but it shows you the end of like time, and it's hauntingly beautiful or something like that.
My level 12 Pidgey is seeing the heat death of the universe.
He's just like, it's Willem
Dafoe.
Dafoe.
Picture of him just going like,
yeah.
I love that. Oh, that's good.
God help me, I love it. All right, bye, Shelby. All right, back to Jesse.
She's having some struggles. All right, this is what I actually remembered while I'm trying to Google other ones. Red versus Blue, that game. Not Red versus Blue. Team Fortress 2 is about. Oh, Shelby's back. Shelby, you're good.
I can't hear. I'm not good.
Oh, never mind then.
I can't hear. I'm not good.
Whoops.
Not.
Okay, now my audio is back.
Okay, cool. Anyway, Team Fortress 2, it's Black Mesa versus Aperture Labs and the briefcases with the gravity gun and the portal gun. They're trying to get, or the documentation for it. So yeah, it's two armies hired to try to protect and also steal the opposing corporation's secrets.
I like that.
That's
a fun one.
I do not know anything about that game.
Half-Life and Portal?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. So Team Fortress would just then be like Overwatch before Overwatch existed. And you've got, your sniper, your tank, your heavy, all that shit. There's not a tank in a heavy.
Nope,
your sniper,
there's just
your
heavy.
Your scout.
Spy, medic, pyro.
The medic is the one I was trying to think of.
Did you say Vampiro?
Yeah, there's pyro.
Just pyro.
Vampiro.
Just pyro.
Vampiro.
There's actually because at this point Team Fortress is old. There's some people out there that may not have ever heard of even Team Fortress. There's a Meet the series with each of the character classes, and it's extremely well done. They're very, very funny videos. It's a very, very fun game. It was straight up, like Hunter said, Overwatch before Overwatch existed.
And in that way, it's also like Overwatch because there's no story in the game, but you can watch those videos.
Yeah, you watch those videos, and they give you some lore. Yeah, that's very similar to what Overwatch did. And then like this, like the that kind of like theory as to why they're fighting Black Mesa versus Aperture Labs.
Okay. Is Shelby back?
I am.
Let's go to Shelby.
Sort of. Neville would have been the chosen one had he had the right wand.
Yes.
So in the books it states, he's not actually using a wand that he went and picked from Ollivanders. He's actually using his father's wand in honor of his father. So if he had actually gone through the process of having a wand choose him at Ollivanders, he would have been set up to be the chosen one in Harry's place.
Yeah.
You guys, let's get Tanner on the line. He knows more about Harry Potter and Wangs than anybody.
Wangs.
I mean, there's not much to do other than confirm it. That's correct. That's how the wand thing works in that universe. Is that it picks you, you don't pick it, and there's a definite advantage to using one that like chooses you. So yeah, had he had
Neville
that,
also has the same deal of his parents being gone and all that stuff.
right? That's kind of the classic theory for those who don't know. Is basically that Neville would have been the chosen one had Harry Potter not been there. Basically, that he has the same setup with, like you said, the parents and the whole thing. He's also the one who pulls the sword, the sword of Godric, Gryffindor from the hat. Yeah.
Did you say sword of Godric? Hell yeah!
Gryffindor, that's his name.
Hell yeah!
Godric Gryffindor.
Fuck that.
Godric the Grafted.
It's Godric the Grafted. Damn straight.
Oh shit! What if Elden Ring is just Harry Potter, but after everything goes to hell?
or gets better. I mean, let's be honest.
New fan theories.
Hunter.
I'm also going to do a Harry Potter one before Tanner gets here. I think it's important that we do as many as possible. Fred and George, once they leave and run their little shop, Weasley's Wizarding Wheezes, among the things that they sell, there's a lot of practical joke type stuff because that's who those guys are. They sell candy and shit like that. But it's noted specifically that they sell love potions. And this has bothered people for a long time because they're like, that's not cool. You shouldn't do that. Don't do that. They're not real. They're fake. And here's why I think that they're selling, is a great theory, and again, that I found online, that I think they're selling the fake ones because they know that is a prank in and of itself. Anyone who tries to complain or get a refund because it doesn't work would have to admit that they bought a love potion and tried to use it on somebody. So they're just selling like colorful water that they threw on their shelf. It also explains why, if those things exist, why there's not a mass outbreak of that shit at the school all the time, or why somebody didn't spike Harry's food with it at some point, and try to use that against him. They're fake. They're not real. And so anybody who's dumb enough to buy one just gets fleeced out of their money by the two ultimate fucking hucksters in that universe.
Ooh, I kind of want to piggyback on that with another theory that kind of relates to that, but I'm going to throw a fact.
I feel I know which one you're going to do.
Okay, I'll throw the theory and the fact in. So the theory is that Ginny has used her brother's love potions as a tracking mechanism for Harry. That's how she ends up finding him a lot of the time. So she's using one of these stupid things to link themselves together in a weird way so that she can find him at all times. It's almost like the Marauders map, but with a fake love potion.
That's not the one I was thinking of, but...
So the fact is, Tom Riddle, or Voldemort's parents, his... was it the mother or the father? One of the parents used a love potion on the other parent. And this is the reason why he grew up in a loveless home, is because once the love potion wore off, they weren't in love.
But how do we know that? Who said that?
It's in, I can't remember who states it in the book, but it's in the book.
Whoever it is, they a liar.
Hang on, I gotta...
Because I'm assuming it's either him, right? And of course, he's like the devil himself, so he would lie about it. Or it's Dumbledore, who constantly lies about shit to get Harry to do what he wants him to do.
Actually, I think it was Dumbledore. Hang on, give me one
Yeah,
second.
Dumbledore lies about everything.
Dumbledore's full of shit.
Yeah. He's a bastard.
Just replace Dumbledore with that picture of Garfield. You are not immune to Dumbledore's propaganda.
Dumbledore is a very classic the means justify the ends kind of character.
Gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss. Mm-hmm. That's him.
Did you say the means justify the ends? Wouldn't it be the ends justify the means?
Yes, but...
Okay, so it was Dumbledore.
Yep. That checks out.
More like Dumbledore.
And there's even a B there.
Grandmaster B.
I like that. You mean bedwetter B?
Is it my turn?
Or grasshopper B?
I've only got 2 more, and then you guys can take over. And I'm really scraping like the name of the show, scraping the bottom of the barrel here. This one was a fan theory that turned out to actually be true, so I don't think I can use it, but I'm going to because I'm desperate. And that is that Super Mario Bros. 3 is not real. It's a stage play.
Oh, it's a play.
It's a play. Yeah. I never noticed it until I saw it mentioned
2
online.
is too, isn't it?
2 is a dream.
Because it... Oh, that's right. That's right. I was going to say, because it opens up with the curtain and all that too, but that's on the character select screen. Yeah, 2 is a dream, 3 is a stage play. The first one is like the only real thing that ever happens to them.
Because if you ever noticed in the third one, and it's little things that I always notice I never thought about, like all of the background stuff is like bolted to the wall. Yeah. And Mario walks off stage right at the end of every level. It very much is a stage play, which is really weird when you think about it. Man, Miyamoto I don't know what mushrooms he was on. But
well, even when you do the trick to go get the warp whistle, you just drop behind the scenery.
You go behind the scenery.
You drop to the background of the set. Yeah. Yeah.
So I always thought that was really cool, though, when you think of Mario 3 as a play. And then Mario 2 wasn't actually Mario. That's not a thing. That's not a fan theory. That's fact. All right. Let's go to Lindsay.
Right.
I'm going to do one more Pokemon just because it's right there in front of me. But Charizard has permanently scarred some of Ash's Pokemon.
Like physically or emotionally?
Evolved emotionally.
Oh shit!
So when he evolved, obviously he kind of became an asshole. He stopped listening to Ash and was just a jerk in general to kind of all of them. So subsequently, Squirtle and Bulbasaur have seen the way their friend is acting, not being friendly anymore, and even being mean and dangerous towards their trainer. And they kind of have like made a vow: we're never evolving because of what this has done.
I get that. Charizard is an asshole. That's one of those things. I remember watching Pokemon when I was younger and absolutely hating Charizard because he was such a dick. I just remember, I disliked him strongly.
And especially,
it was so sad when he got rid of him, though.
Because he had just started, they became friends again, and then all right, peace.
Because he helped you look like a dragon, motherfucker. You used to look like a dopey ass little dinosaur. You show
I love Charmander though. So, I was
really. Did you love the Charmander I sent to the group chat that Lindsay and I found in St. Louis? The one with the DNA problem?
That was a Charmeleon.
That's a Charmeleon, that's right. Okay.
It really bummed me out when he evolved in the show and became a dickhead. I was like, damn it. Because Charmeleon's my favorite. Or Charmander's my favorite.
And Charizard doesn't even look that cool, honestly.
I disagree, but that's fine.
If they changed up the horns on his head, I think he would look a little cooler.
I agree with that.
Those make him look dirty.
All right, so quick question. What's the coolest dragon in Pokemon?
The coolest dragon?
Yes, the coolest looking dragon.
Flygon.
Isn't Tyranitar a dragon? Because I'm gonna go with him.
No.
No, he's not.
I think he's just like dark rock type, I think.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, my favorite dragon in Pokemon is Dragonite.
You're all
He's my
Shannon's gonna be that
But-
Godzilla.
nope. You're
Yeah,
all nope. My favorite's actually Rayquaza. He's the coolest dragon.
Is he a dragon?
He is. I had to look it up before I ran my mouth. He is a dragon.
Fair
I
enough.
thought it was gonna be that, or what is it,
I like-
Dragapult, the ghost one? That
Yeah,
shoots
Dragapult.
That was pretty cool,
awesome.
too.
guys.
I like Dreepy though. I like his pre-evolution.
Yeah,
The little
Dreepy.
guy.
I was just about to say that.
I like
pulled out a
Goomy, but
Dragapult.
Shannon's like, that's not a dragon. I'm
That's
like,
a-
but it
He
is a
is.
dragon.
It's a fucking
He is a
slug.
dragon.
It's a fucking
It's
slug.
the dragon type.
It's a slug.
He is a dragon.
He is a
It's the
dragon.
type.
It's dragon
Bit.
bullshit Z.
But I am a little surprised that Shannon didn't go for Baxcalibur.
Yeah.
I mean, I like him
Yeah.
too, but like, I just visually, Rayquaza, I always thought looked like he doesn't even look like he belongs in Pokemon. He is such a serious, kind of crazy looking Pokemon. I always thought he was
Well, at that
badass.
point, you got to throw in Gyarados, and Gyarados isn't a dragon either. So
God damn it! Yeah, what sense does that make? Fucking Gyarados isn't a dragon, but fucking Goomy the Slug is.
Flapple and Appleton are dragons.
Oh, yeah, that one's extra dumb. No, the dumbest dragon in Pokemon is Executor.
just
Yes, yes.
wait. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Jesse, hang on. I got to go back to this apple thing. I know you're upset about them being dragons, but you understand why they are, right? Because
No.
the Pokemon is not the apple; it's the worm inside of it.
Yeah.
Worm.
Oh,
Instead of
WYRM.
WY, yeah.
This is my
That's
second
why they're
favorite.
dragons.
This is my second favorite dragon in Pokemon.
Wait a minute. That's Fing Fang Foom.
Wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
that was very unexpected.
Anytime I can throw Fin Fang Foom in there, I'm definitely going to do that. All right, Lindsay, you went right.
Yes.
Back to Jesse.
Apple Ton, Apple Run. All right, my next one is the Destiny conspiracy theory that the Guardians that you play as are actually the bad guys. You are an unstoppable undead army created by a malevolent force to wipe out existence in the galaxy.
You're doing a good job too.
Right? You, as a Guardian, you have at this point in the game, you have murdered several gods. And like taken down multiple armies, you've taken down like many groups, huge bad guys, all sorts of stuff. So yeah, I kind of like that theory. And like that was like the what do you call it? The Traveler. The Traveler comes in, tricks humans into thinking it's their savior, and then kills half of them to turn them into Guardians.
Nice. Better than the game.
Hell
All right.
yeah.
So,
Oh, I love that game.
I'm sorry. Let's go. I'm sorry. Let's go to
No, you're
Shelby.
Bitch.
So one of my favorite theories about a series that ended up being very bad, but this is more for the book, and I'm pretty sure it was disproved, but I still really liked it because it made a lot of other theories make sense. Tyrion Lannister is a Targaryen. So if anyone doesn't know who that is, Tyrion Lannister is the
Half Man.
the half.
Yeah, the
sounds
dwarf.
Terrible. He's the dwarf, the brother to Jaime and Cersei. He, in the show, it doesn't touch on it at all, but in the books, there's a very specific way that Martin talks about the way a Lannister looks and the way a Targaryen looks. They often talk about the misshapen or small or ugly, the different deformities that the Targaryen babies are born with, the ones that don't live or the ones that do live and just no one ever sees them because they hide them and don't let them really be seen. They send those kids away a lot of the time. It's the same language that he uses to describe Tyrion, but it's not the same language that he uses to describe any of the other dwarfs that are seen throughout the book. Another note is when they talk about Lannisters, they talk about their golden hair. They are the golden-haired lions. But when they talk about Tyrion, it's cornflower. And cornflower is often the color that they associate with the Targaryens when they don't want to say white. So a lot of the language and just the way they describe it is that just a purring kitty?
Yes. Yeah. To add to that, the show is bullshit at this point. So if the book is trending toward it, I'll take that.
I'm pretty sure it does. Like I tried really hard to make the timelines work, but the only way that this works, one, the Mad King Aerys would have been his mother or his father. Sorry, Joanna Lannister would have been his mother.
Right.
But the Mad King Aerys would have had to have been his father. The only way that this would have come about is on one of his visits to King's Landing, or on one of his travels, when the Lannisters were in King's Landing, he would have had to have bed Joanna. Usually this only happens when the man and wife are first wed, which would have resulted in Cersei and Jaime being his offspring rather than Tyrion. So that's the only reason this doesn't quite work. And in that timeline, like, that's kind of a normal thing. Like, you either have the what they call the traditional wedding, where you have your first night of relations in front of people to prove that, you know, you have slept and consummated the marriage. Or once you have had that night with your wife, then the king has a chance to have a go at her, even though I think that's weird, but that's still a thing that they did then and in that timeline and in that book. So that would have been the only time really that could have happened. So the timeline doesn't quite match up and doesn't really work, and I want to try and make it work as much as possible, because I think that's great, because that also lends credence to him being the third head of the dragon, which is something that they talk about often. Because I think at this point the two named heads are Daenerys and Jon. And that's all we know of.
Right. And, you know, sometime in 2074, when George R.R. Martin's estate finishes those last two books, then maybe we'll actually fucking know what the hell is going on.
Right. Oh, also, he has dragon dreams. I don't know if anyone else knows about that, or if it's even mentioned in the show. I can't remember. He dreams of dragons, and that's usually strictly a Targaryen thing.
Right.
I have never watched Game of Thrones or read it. I am lost. Thank you for everyone else that did know what she was talking about, because
Sorry.
not my jam. Let's go to Double H.
All right. Everybody knows the Jedi are not allowed to marry, right? This is part of the Jedi Code, but who put it there? My theory posits that it was the Republic who had that planted into their code. Now, I don't have a specific way of going about how this was done, how they managed to convince the Jedi this was the case over, you know, time and you know, making it part of their doctrine. But the thing is, if the Jedi want to swell their ranks, because that is happening in a lot of the earlier, you know, movies, the prequels, that is, anyway, why not just start having kids, right? I mean, for every kid that's born, you have a chance of them having force powers or a stronger connection to the force. The Jedi want a stronger order, but the Republic doesn't, because the Republic knows what they would have on their hands. It's already kind of a political nightmare, right? They are a semi-autonomous religious order with godlike powers. A handful of them they can control. So basically, part of the Jedi Code was put together to keep the Jedi number from swelling, to keep other people from becoming second-class citizens against superpowered beings. Otherwise, there's really no reason. They never say why they can't do that, just that they can't. It's the Jedi Code, but no one ever explains why.
Yeah, because they talk about, like, you know, Jedi aren't supposed to have emotions, and I guess they don't want to try to separate, you know, having babies from loving other people. But
and that's just, it's functionally silly. Like, it never works out that way. It never plays out that way across any media that we see with Jedi. In fact, you know, detaching yourself from emotions in that way, to me anyway, they don't really touch on this, but would lend people to being more likely to turn to the dark side, to feel something for a fucking change.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, it's like when you try to stop yourself from drinking sugar or whatever, eventually you will do it. You will do it in mass quantities because you've denied it for so long.
Right. Right. Why not? It's the Lord of the Rings, you know, after all. Why not?
Why shouldn't I?
Why shouldn't I?
I like Bilbo. All right, let's go to Me. So
Yeah.
I don't know if this is a fan theory. I think it's a fan theory, but I have no idea where it all came from. But it's one of my favorite like fan told stories. It's I don't know if there's any proof to back it up, but I just like telling this story anyway. There is a droid. Speaking of Star Wars, and I may have mentioned it on the show here before. There is a droid on Mos Espa on Tatooine. You only see it 2 times in the Star Wars series. You see it in, I think, Phantom Menace, briefly, and you see it in the Skywalker Saga game. In the Skywalker Saga game, it's a very creepy droid. But it's called the Ghost Droid, or Nobot. And this droid apparently was found... It wandered into town with scorch marks, blaster marks on it. It can't speak other than playing a recording of a woman begging for her life and being murdered. And the belief is that either he murdered her or he witnessed it, and now he's like traumatized and he can't do anything other than play that. And he just wanders around town, and he's this super creepy background droid. And if you play the Skywalker Saga, you actually see him in a building, and it's just this weird, creepy moment where he kind of stares at you all awkwardly and then runs off. I just think it's a really cool story. I don't have anything to back it up. I'm looking at the Wikipedia for it right now, trying to find proof that this was even a thing. It's one of those things that I don't know how this story got around, but it did. And I like to think that there's a ghost droid walking around Tatooine that perhaps murdered a pregnant woman. And they ain't gonna show that on Disney.
No.
Not yet.
Or if the Saudis take over, you know they're okay with murdering pregnant women.
Meltzer said that anyway.
Kind of regret what I said, but I'll stand by it. Let's go to Lindsay and get the heat off of me.
Okay. Pac-Man is a cosmonaut that's dealing with the death of his fellow cosmonauts.
Now, Lindsay, tell everybody what a cosmonaut is.
It was a Russian astronaut.
Where the hell did you get that theory from?
I was watching a thing yesterday that actually popped up. It was part of what inspired this. But I'm just going to read the write-up that I found for it. In 1976, cosmonaut Nikolai Peckman was sent alone to an orbiting space station for what would be called Mission 6 to study the radiation levels and strange circumstances that killed all 4 of the crewmen at the last research mission. By the 3rd day, Peckman's broken transmissions were coming back to ground control, filled with increasing paranoia and delusion. He claimed that the spirits of the dead cosmonauts were coming to claim him and that he had to keep moving to evade them. He shouted that if he could capture and consume the spirits himself while he still had strength, he could move to the next level of consciousness. Truly the rantings of an insane man. Indeed, video recovered later would show Peckman running around the confined but maze-like station, downing emergency sedatives like a madman, pausing in a corner momentarily only to throw back vitamin pills and give chase to his invisible demons. He had exhausted the entire cargo of vitamins, pills, and fresh fruit well ahead of schedule. It was determined that another mission to recover any remains or gather any more research would be a waste of people's money. The station was allowed to drift out into orbit into space, a failure.
That's pretty dark for Pac-Man.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly. And also, who were the other cosmonauts? Were their call names?
They didn't
Inky,
give
Blinky?
names for them. Supposedly this was inspired by a piece of artwork that someone made. I'm gonna save it here
because I've definitely seen that picture that you're talking about.
Shelby,
yeah,
can you
freaking
name
awesome.
Can you name the 4 ghosts from Pac-Man?
Inky, Blinky, Winky, and the other one doesn't match, and I can't remember what it is.
Well, it's
You
not.
also got one of them wrong.
Yeah.
2.
Oh.
Jesse.
What is it?
Jesse, correct her.
The one she was looking for is Clyde.
Clyde. Yeah, that's the weird one.
And then Winky is
Blinky,
incorrect.
Pinky, and Clyde.
Yeah,
Pinky,
Pinky is the
that's
one that
Pinky.
you were looking for.
Yeah.
All right, let's go back to Jesse.
What? Why me? So this is one that I actually hadn't known about, and I kind of want to read more into it now that I'm sitting here Googling it. Commander Shepard in Mass Effect is being indoctrinated the whole time.
By critical race
you
theory.
would know if you listen to the Inquest, you would know.
Oh shit!
What, Hunter?
Yes, Lindsay, I have seen that exact picture.
Hunter,
Lindsay.
before he continues
Yeah, it's
with
awesome,
this,
isn't it?
what is the Inquest?
The Inquest is a solo scripted show I put together on the network starting last year. There are 4 episodes, technically, one of which is a 2-part episode about Ghostbusters, one of which is about Mass Effect, and one actually is about Game of Thrones. Generally about overviews of the series, but also often about their kind of ups and downs. The Game of Thrones one was specifically about the television show and how it kind of collapsed under its own weight. And yeah, you can check it out at Podzilla1985.com right now.
Right here, you can now search by tag. So if you ever want to search for the Inquest episodes, you absolutely can. You can also search by pro wrestling and scripted, Podzilla After Dark, yes. I Want to Believe. Wow, what a great feature. All right, Jesse.
I mean, that's the gist of it. So, if you've never played the Mass Effect series, which I know Shannon is not.
Yo.
The main bad guy across the 3 games, you don't really learn about them until game 2, are these things called the Reapers. They indoctrinate people into their service, like to further their agenda. And the idea is that Commander Shepard, who inevitably saves the world, is being indoctrinated throughout the game trilogy. And even like the final decision, which felt weird to pretty much everybody at the time of release for Mass Effect 3, the final decision in the game makes a lot more sense under the premise that he's being indoctrinated by the Reapers. But I haven't read that much into this theory. I plan on looking into it more tomorrow and perhaps listening to some Hunter Hendricks guided dialogue about it.
It comes toward the end of the episode. It's part of the discussion of like choice in media and that. But yeah, the gist of it really is just that the reason it comes down to the controversy about how bad the ending was in 3, how it kind of felt like the whole series built up to pick red, blue, or green, all are bad. And that is the level of indoctrination that Shepard's under at that point. That really, I don't want to spoil it for you, man. Never mind. I'm gonna let you listen to it. Anyway, it's a good theory, and that little the color theory plays into it with that, especially the red and green. I'll tell you maybe off the air. Anyway, it's a good one. I like that.
Yeah, that is one thing that I did notice about, like, because they talk about the code in the game for the final decision is even coded in the standard. Because you going through the entire game, you have like blue are your good choices, red are your bad choices for like good versus evil, and it's kind of like even coded that way a little bit, like for that final decision.
Day-to-day life, green means go, red means stop, right? And yet red is the only one that destroys the Reapers. Choosing the red option is the only one that completely gets rid of them. Yeah, that's really what it comes down to. So yeah,
it's pretty interesting. So yeah, I plan on doing a lot more looking into that tomorrow because it sounds very interesting to me. Though they did change the ending with some DLC to try to appease some folks. So
yeah,
fucking fans, fucking fans.
Channel, what's the worst part about wrestling?
Mass Effect. All right, let's go to Jesse. Did I ever tell you about the time that I started working with this gentleman at Gaming Grounds years ago, and I was his boss, and within the first week of us working together, he sent me a picture of a naked Asian man with a giant dick that said Mass Effect 3.
Yeah, you haven't told me that story.
I want you to think about that. Let's go to Shelby.
My next one is a Naruto theory. It's something that I had actually told Jesse earlier today. Neji was right. That family name is everything. What I didn't mention to him is that Naruto's suffering was predetermined because of this. So in this show, Naruto is an orphan. Everyone's afraid of him because he has the 9-tailed fox sealed inside of him. Everyone thinks he's going to be nothing because he is nothing. He has no family. He comes from nothing. Like, there's no hope for this kid. And he doesn't really seem to be talented or anything. Later in the series, once he starts to get stronger, one of his teammates, but one of the classmates that he has tells him, you will continue to be nothing because you are born from nothing. If you are low in life and you are born that way, you will stay that way. And while this statement is true, when you later find out that Naruto was not actually born low in life, he was born from a very powerful person, the reincarnation of a very powerful person, imbued with another powerful creature, you then learn that the suffering that he went through, all the hardships that he went through, was a predetermined lot for him to make him a stronger person to become the savior that they ended up needing. But Neji was right. In that world, if you are born low, you stay low. And that's a really sad thing to think about.
I also don't know Naruto. I'm so sorry.
Well, you're not gonna like my next one because it's also a Naruto theory.
I mean, I think that kind of goes along with Japanese culture in general, right? Like
I don't like that picture
like
of Batman I posted.
No, I think more Japanese culture is more of you will work your way to the top.
Well, I mean, I'm talking like super traditional Japanese culture. Like they put a lot of emphasis on the family names. Like if you if you don't have a good family name, then the highest honor you can hope to achieve is to die for one of these noble families, like either as a guard or in the service of their army or whatever.
Yeah.
How do you think they would feel about the name Kimball?
Bad.
Okay. Because why, Jesse?
Nothing.
All right, let's go to Hunter.
Okay. I'm going to throw some fairly heavy World War II stuff at you. Bear with me on this. This is an Indiana Jones theory that I like. Basically, the events of the first movie ultimately completely changed World War II, or at least led it to what ends up happening. So bear with me here. At the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark, Indy and Marion have to get off of the island where the Wrath of God is like opened up, right? Where the Covenant, the Ark of the Covenant is opened. So in theory, because the Nazis left a ton of equipment behind, Indy would have easily been able to hijack or rebuild a radio there and recontact Captain Katanga, the guy who was in charge of the ship that they were on previously, to come pick the two of them up. In doing so, Indy tips off the British and the Greek governments, because this is a Greek island, to the existence of this island, which they called Geheimhaven, the Nazis did, for the record, which is now their abandoned secret Nazi submarine base that's in the middle of the Aegean Sea. And that's huge for diplomatic and military strategic reasons. Germany just lost a secret naval base in the Mediterranean. They're not going to get another. That would have massively changed U-boat operations in there during World War II if it's still been operational. It's also a major loss of resources for the rest of their marine and naval services. If it did not become public knowledge, it would still rapidly and decisively alter the way that the British, the Greek, and the American military got involved, pretty much. The revelation of that island existing would make it very clear Germany was preparing for a new naval war of commerce raiding with Britain. Britain, of course, is the clear strategic target of a base right there, which would hugely accelerate the Greek government to support Britain and the Allies. So to tack on to all of this, basically, it becomes the inciting incident for the Tube Alloys project. The U.S. government and Black Chamber might not fully believe what Indiana Jones has to say at the end, that there's an island of mysterious dead Nazis. But if they were to visit that for themselves, it'd be enough probably to convince them not to open the Ark. They're now in possession of proof of powerful and bizarre energies capable of devastating an entire island naval base. So they decide to try to reverse engineer that, which ends up becoming the Manhattan Project. Basically, Indiana Jones is the catalyst for the atomic bomb.
And that's
because of Raiders.
And that's why they paired him up with Shia LaBeouf.
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah. Well, if he's going to create the atomic bomb, and they're going to pair him with the box office bomb.
Oh.
Whoa.
I didn't like that.
He didn't either.
Fuck. Who would have thought he wouldn't enjoy being paired up with a plucky young dude named Mutt Williams?
Mutt
Williams. I only have one other one, and I'll make it quick because we're at over an hour at this point. But and I'm pretty sure this has been disproven 1,000 times, but to me it still makes the most sense. And that is that James Bond 007 is just it's a code name. Yeah, that's why there have been so many James Bonds. Right, because the Bond series takes place during the Cold War, it takes place during, the present time. It just makes sense because one, James Bond, the super secret spy, always introduces himself as James Bond. He doesn't use a fake name because it is a fake name. James Bond is the fake name and 007 is the code for that. It just makes sense, people. And I know that I think the creator said that's not true, but I'm pretty sure the creator is awful and also an awful person, so I'm not listening to anything he says.
The only big problem that the films have with that is that there is one continuation, and I forget now if it's Dalton, not
Timothy Dalton.
No, what I was going to say was Cody will correct me. I was going to say Dalton will correct me because I'm used to saying that. I don't think it's Timothy Dalton. I think it's Roger Moore. In 2 back-to-back Bond films, his James Bond gets married, his wife is killed, and he visits her grave.
But is it the same actor?
So if it's
or is
it's 2
actors?
different ones.
Okay, yeah.
It's 2 different ones. Yeah, it goes from Moore to Dalton or something like that. No.
Lazenby.
One of them's married to her. One of them visits the grave of.
Gotcha.
And it's the same name and all that.
Dude,
so the idea there was like, well, then it can't be. But
I could bullshit my way through it. That was actually the new James Bond sister. It was his half sister. It was his cousin. He wanted to go see her grave.
Sure. Definitely.
Look, in the entertainment world, you could bullshit your way to anything. Lindsay, tell them the bullshit you got up next.
The bullshit I
also,
got
Pierce
up
Brosnan
next
is the best James Bond.
Is that Kevin McAllister grows up, changes his name, and becomes Jigsaw.
I heard that theory recently. I kind of like it.
I mean, so
all the traps and things that he set up for the Wet Bandits could easily permanently disfigure, if not kill, someone.
You're not entirely wrong, because they actually made, I think I've sent this before, there was an episode 1 of a satirical show called like Rides or something like that, about it's like an Uber driver, and the first episode is Macaulay Culkin reprising the role of Kevin McAllister as a full-grown adult, and he's fucked in the head. He ends up kidnapping a guy and torturing him. So you might not be off on that theory.
Also, Shannon, you're gonna have to bullshit a little harder. I just sent her grave to the group chat there, a picture of it. It says beloved wife of James Bond.
Well, yeah, beloved wife of the first Bond. And the new Bond, because Bond is the code name, you see. So the new Bond is going to see her.
It fell apart before 10 o'clock. You didn't quite make it to the end there.
Let's just go back to Jesse and end this. I don't have another
All
one.
Right. I actually do have another one. The classic
This is the
Reservoir
last
Dogs.
one, right?
Yeah.
Yes, last round.
The Reservoir Dogs Pulp Fiction theory.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if anybody's seen both films, or at the very least, Pulp Fiction is the one you really need to see. At one point in the film, John Travolta's character shoots a kid in the head in the back of a car accidentally. Blood goes everywhere.
He shot Marvin in the fucking face.
He shot Marvin in the fucking face. That is what happened. And blood's everywhere. Cars covered in blood. Like, they're driving in Los Angeles. Like, how the fuck is it that they never get stopped by a cop? How did they make it? And the theory is that all of the cops in town were too busy dealing with the events of Reservoir Dogs, so they managed to slip through. They just got lucky, basically.
Well, that's not entirely out of the question, because Michael Madsen's character from Reservoir Dogs and John Travolta's character from Pulp Fiction are brothers. They're the Vega brothers.
Yeah, because I think Tarantino has confirmed that most of his movies exist inside the same universe.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, they legitimately were making a film with both of them called the Vega Brothers to capitalize on it, and it just never happened, so absolutely.
Yeah, I like that theory a lot. It's a lot of fun.
Also, Reservoir Dogs is okay.
What?
It's okay.
I like it more than Pulp Fiction.
Oh, I didn't say I like Pulp Fiction more. I also think Pulp Fiction's okay. Pulp Fiction was really good for 2 reasons, and those reasons were John Travolta and Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but Mr. Pink was a hater who wouldn't tip waiters.
I mean, it does have one of my favorite lines, but why do I have to be Mr. Pink? And I'm not going to tell you what he says.
I like Reservoir Dogs a lot. I do like Pulp Fiction more. I like both of those movies. I like a lot of the Tarantino movies.
Here. See, I do too, but weirdly, I like a lot of his later stuff. Like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I've watched that a million times over. It's sitting right to my right in there.
Django.
Django.
I mean, I was about to say Django Unchained
and Inglourious Basterds.
Inglourious Basterds are my 2 favorite Tarantino.
After watching it, I really like The Hateful Eight. I don't think I'll ever watch it again because it's so long, but I really liked it.
Did not like The Hateful Eight.
We saw it. I liked it, and I think it was strictly because we saw it on New Year's Eve at a theater in St. Louis that you still had like the 5-star lounge. So this was before every theater had reserved seating and food and all that. We watched it on New Year's Eve, and they did the old like 35 millimeter print. Plus, it was the one that had the intermission. It was like 3.5 hours long. But that was awesome because you got the full blown like dark theater experience for it. Never watched it again after that because I remember thinking like this is as good as this will ever get, and I'm not going to tarnish my memory of it past this.
And why was it so good? 2 reasons: Samuel L. Jackson and Walton Goggins.
Oh, you importantly left out Kurt Russell there, who smashed an actual fucking ancient guitar, like one of a kind guitar. You heard about that, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, so
what happened here?
Jesse, real quick, the guitar, there's a guitar that's used in the movie, and they like had one on loan from a museum because it needed to be very specific to that time frame. You know, Tarantino wanted a super accurate version of it. So they got one on loan from a museum that they're like, you have to be super fucking careful with this. They created a replica for him to smash because it needed to be smashed. And in the scene, Kurt Russell grabs the real one because he didn't know they hadn't swapped it out yet and just destroys it. And I forget, Shannon, who's the actress who was holding it?
Jennifer
what's
Jason
her
Leigh?
name? I think so. She, like, her reaction to him doing that, because she freaks out as a character, but she's also freaking out as a person because it's a real, genuine reaction. She knows what he just did. Kurt Russell paid a lot of money to that museum, as I recall. It was like, sorry.
But to be fair, it's Kurt Russell. He can do no wrong.
It's also Kurt Russell. He probably just like winked at him and took off.
He gave him the fake one and was like, "No, this is the one.
This is the real one.
It's fine.
Yeah,
it's fine. Don't worry about it." He signed it. Like it's great.
And now, like he gives back the parts, and like the fake one is like, and now there's a fun story.
Yeah.
Go.
How you gonna criticize him? He was Tombstone. You know.
Oh. He made Thriller.
Yeah. All right, Shelby.
All right, so my last one is another Naruto theory, so no one's gonna give a shit.
All right, let's go to Hunter. Go ahead.
No, Shelby.
Yeah, it's just I'm kidding.
They are setting Sarada, which is Sakura and Sasuke's daughter, up to be the next villain. And the reason being is because she is very much one of those characters who is she wants to be the strongest, she wants to be the most powerful, she wants to be
the very best.
Yeah, exactly. She wants to Ash Ketchum that shit, dude. And in this world, again, the family name is everything. The Uchiha line has a very fucked up history behind it at this point. Most of which they end up becoming the villains in their own mini arcs off to the side that no one sees or hears about. Especially from her dad, who at one point has become like the main villain of the Leaf Village because he just fucks everything up and ruins everything for them and kind of tarnishes their reputation for a while. So, usually the characters that are not money hungry, power hungry, and just going for like, I'm gonna be the greatest there ever was, they end up becoming very villainous and getting power by any underhanded means necessary. So I think they're setting her up to become the next villain for this series.
That would imply that series is still going on.
So Naruto isn't, but Boruto is.
Boruto kids and stuff.
Yeah, and that's the series in which she's introduced.
For the non-anime watcher, this sounds like the landfill bit from Beer Fest. Boruto showed up, and he's exactly like his brother, and also he would like you to call him by his name.
and his brother's been talking to him every weekend, so he knows everything that's happening. He knows all their names.
Oh my god, I love that bit so much.
I love that
movie.
So great.
Hunter, let's go. What do you got? Last one.
All right, this is my favorite fan theory of anything of all time, and I apologize, I'm going to get very into this. Tim and Lex, the kids from the original Jurassic Park, are clones. That they are not actual children.
I've heard this.
Okay, so here's the deal. First of all, the later Jurassic Park movies, or I guess Jurassic World movies at that point, Fallen Kingdom and Dominion, they lean heavy on human cloning, right? I mean, they very much lean into that with an actual human clone character. But even before all of that, go back to this original movie. First of all, if you've ever read the book, the Jurassic Park book.
I have!
They are both great. It's one of the few times that I can recommend the movie and the book with an understanding that they're the exact same story, but almost completely different at the same time. The characters are like almost direct mirror opposites. Alan Grant is described as like a big bodybuilding type, muscle man. And John Hammond is a maniac. Like he's absolutely the antagonist. He's an evil old piece of shit as opposed to, kindly
warm,
fun Richard Attenborough. Right. Yeah. So anyway, this is how the movie version of him is actually also evil. The whole thing is that, first of all, he oversells the park from the beginning. After the lawyers and the scientists see his plan with all the herbivores, they're sold. He should have then put them back on the helicopter and just got him out, right? He has to show them what he did. He can't help himself. And this is where he starts getting into trouble because he starts showing them things that he should not have shown them. The lab scene is one of the biggest problems there. He says he insists on being present at the birth of every single dinosaur in the park. There's no way. There are herds of at least 3 different species out there. There's got to be thousands of dinosaurs in the park, and there cannot be any way to predictably set about when the dinosaurs are going to hatch and how long that takes. So the time commitment alone would make that almost impossible. He also says he does it so the dinosaurs will imprint on him and trust him. This is insane. It does not work like that. He openly hints at cloning when he does like the whole little "here's how we did it" presentation. He puts clones of himself on the screen to illustrate the process. He basically is just standing there saying, I can clone Ultrafauna that's been extinct for 100 million years. You think it'd be hard to clone somebody who's alive right now? Hammond's team can and do select gender. They make a point to mention this, and you think it's this big, reveal of, we thought they were all female, but that doesn't really have anything to do in the first movie. That's not really relevant until the second movie, the fact that they're hatching and breeding individual dinosaurs. We only get a hint of that in the first one. So why bring any of that shit up? Here's what we know up to this point. Hammond's a madman with no ethical qualms about large-scale genetic manipulation. He dedicates enormous amounts of time building some sort of personal connection with things he creates. He openly hints at cloning himself, and his geneticists treat gender selection with an easy-as-pie attitude. Tim and Lex look like they're there to be plot development for Alan Grant's character. Where the fuck are their parents? Why did they just leave Tim and Lex with their clearly insane grandfather at a dangerous zoo in its alpha stage of testing? Because the parents are never once mentioned, but the parents are never even mentioned. They never cry out for their mother or ask to go home because they don't have one. They don't have a mother. They don't have a home. The most detailed family information is almost non-existent. There's no parents' first names. The book barely mentions any of it. And Hammond doesn't really seem to care about these kids until suddenly he does. He sends them out into the park into a super dangerous situation. When they come back without the kids the first time, he just sits around eating ice cream and not really doing anything.
Well, I spared no expense.
But here's the thing. If we take into account that he's not really concerned, why wouldn't he be? Well, he could just clone more. If these kids die, it's not a big deal. He'll just make new ones.
It's the Venture Brothers.
Yeah, the movie even ends without acknowledging that the kids survive. No one says, like, thank God you're alive, or all we were so worried. It's just get in the car, you little abominations, we're leaving.
Are you the second ones or the 17th ones? I've lost track.
Well,
he doesn't know which ones they are at this point.
And originally, I don't know if you knew this, but Tim was not named Tim, it was Billy. And the original title for the movie was Billy and the Clonosaurus.
Oh, sir, please. First of all, you come up with an idea that already exists. Anyway.
They're the top sellers. One of the greatest, most beloved movies of all time, sir. What were you thinking?
Thank you, come again. But yeah, no, long story short, the kids are just clones. It's basically Hammond's first attempt at seeing if he can get human cloning past people who are outside of the island. That's why nobody ever mentions it. And at the end, he kind of probably privately just goes like, all right, solve that problem. Yeah, they're clones. They're not real people. Yep.
And they actually...
It's maybe my favorite fan theory in most things. I love it.
And they actually had a working logo for the movie, too.
Damn it.
Which I thought
don't even want to know.
Pretty impressive. It was pretty good.
I don't like that it says see my shirt at the bottom because all I can hear is see my vest.
Mine's really quick. Mine is, I have a last one actually. Is that I heard that famed podcast hosts Jesse Kimball and Shannon Young were the same person. That they were actually cloned.
See, I heard they were brothers.
See, there's so much.
Yeah, I heard that they're twins. But
Which one's which?
Which one do you want it to be?
You can't tell them apart when they're beside each other. So.
We can't. There's no
They're the
difference.
same person.
There's no
None.
difference. No difference. All right, Lindsay, go ahead.
Practically identical.
All right, for the last one, we're going to keep it short and sweet.
Thank God.
The Fairly Odd Parents, Cosmo and Wanda, are actually just antidepressants.
Yep.
They show up when Timmy's problems begin, and if there's always serious side effects if he ever abuses their magic.
Okay, hold on. It's funny you mentioned that, because I'm thinking this is the same thing I saw. Something I came across on Reddit as I was just scrolling through random things. It said it was the biggest twist in Cartoon Network history. And it's that, is this the same thing I'm thinking of? That the kid wished that he didn't have a wish or something, but it turns out he did get a wish, and he wished to stay, what was it? That they would all stay young forever so they could be together, and he did it like 60 years ago. It's this big plot revelation. Did this actually happen, or did I dream this? What is
I
this
know
show?
what you're talking about, but I don't know all the details. I never watched this show, so I don't know anything about it, but I've definitely heard this.
Well,
I
one
watched
is
the shit out of the show when I was a
cartoon.
kid.
What was it called again? What was the show we're talking about?
Fairly Odd Parents.
Fairly Odd.
Lindsay, I found not only the antidepressants, but also a further explanation into that theory.
Yes.
So Cosmo is Zoloft and Wanda is Prozac.
Yep.
And then so it's stated that they were only going to be around when Timmy needed them in the beginning, not whenever he turned 13 or whatever it is. So they did change the wording on it later. Timmy also uses a handheld aging machine to see if the two would still be with him into his 20s, and it turns out that they'd be sticking with him for a long time. Meaning he's going to need antidepressants for a
For
while.
most of his life.
Yep.
All right, that's going to do it for us tonight. This has been an episode of Fan Theories, mostly of shows I don't know anything about, and that just shows you what an uncultured swine I am. But for those of you that did the homework and brought your A game, I thank you. That is, of course, Hunter, Lindsay, and Shelby. Jesse and I, the two clones who did our best.
I have a new theory. John Hammond cloned. Wait, which one is the clone, though?
It's got to be Jesse because he's younger than me.
No. See, like, we can never know which one is the clone. It's
There's no way.
There's no way.
Well,
I have to hold you both at gunpoint, and when one of you walks forward and pulls the barrel to his head, I go, "Oh, that's Shannon."
Thank you.
So eventually, in Invincible, there's this character that's cloned in that series, and they specifically, when they're cloned, they have no way of knowing which one is the real one, because every single time they learn which one is the clone versus which one is the real one, they kill each other.
This just reminds me of what? Oh, The Prestige.
Spider-Man? Oh, I was thinking of the maximum cloned stuff.
No. The Prestige. Whenever there's 1,000 Hugh Jackmans because he kept cloning himself.
He doesn't know which one's the real one.
And no one knows which one's the real one anymore.
All he had to do was have a twin brother, man. It was so easy.
All right, that's going to do it for us tonight. We might be back tomorrow. The horses might run free, but just in case they don't, thank you guys for tuning in. Good week of shows. Stay tuned for another week of shows next week. We're glad to be back. And Shelby, I can't see you, but I need to hear you. Take us out. Fuck!
Hey, Jill.